Welcome, 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 everyone. Susanna and I are so excited. We are meeting at the cafe today. This is kind of the first of hopefully more conversations that we have, whereas we're bringing Mars and Venus to the same table. So, welcome. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Susanna has been a really beautiful soul connection for some time now. And Susanna, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the group today.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Susannah Perry, Modern Priestess Collective. I'm an astrologer and a Reiki master, and I do a lot of work with Venus. Um, I'm so excited to sit down with you and let's talk about this. This is gonna be amazing. I'm so excited.
Me too. Me too. It's been so much. I mean, we both will chit chat about this more, but we both have had really intense, I'll say, awakenings for lack of a better term, with my Mars retrograde, you with the Venus retrograde, and they've been such embodied planets. And I know so much of your work has been working with Venus. My Mastering Mars program literally just like
So
births
good.
channeled
So
through
good.
from this entire experience. And so let's talk. Where would you like to start the conversation today?
Well, we both do a lot of work with Mars and Venus, and they're so it's men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and they're looked at as these big diametrically opposed things. Are they? But we carry both of these energies in ourselves. So what does it
Mm,
look like? What does their relationship look like? What is their kind of inner story?
yes.
Um, so I think that would be fun. What happens when we look at them not really as personality traits, but as like characters in this inner story we have of ourselves.
Yes.
So how do they interact with each other?
It's so beautiful to say that. And it's at the cafe, we usually speak from I statements. So, what is your Venus placement and what is your Mars placement? And then I'll share mine as well. So, then we can talk a little bit about how that's manifested in each of our individual lives. Because it's like, I've seen mine only in retrospect. Like, I'm like, oh, that's why. Oh, yeah,
Right?
that's why. That makes a lot of
Oh,
sense.
there
Like,
she
oh,
is.
yeah. But what are
So
your
I
Venus
have
Mars?
Venus in Leo in the 12th, um,
Oh,
which is very fun. I love
that
it.
is so beautiful. And what about your Mars placement?
I have Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Cancer in the 10th.
Yes.
And they're 3 degrees apart. They're at 3 and 6 degrees. So this recent, at the time of this, the Cancer new moon is my Jupiter return also, which I'm seeing in every aspect of my life.
This is so beautiful. It's been such, I don't want to say for that type of a placement, like a long time coming, but it's like this is your life's work coming to full fruition. And it really, for all of those different things to just be like popping, it's like this is the most fertile soil of, like, it's just so fertile and it's so beautiful. So everything is just finding its placement. Oh my goodness, I
It is.
love
How
that.
about yours?
There's My Venus is in Aquarius. It's one of the only airs that I have in my chart.
I love your Venus
In
placement
the
so
in the fourth
much.
house, it's like home is so important to me, but also like my Mercury is in my fourth house as well. It's like living and working at home. It all makes sense. And my Mars is in Taurus in my seventh house. So they are squaring each other. Venus is 24 degrees and Mars is 21 degrees. So and it's funny, it actually forms a T square with my midheaven in Leo. So it's a very
Oh,
like
nice.
it's been, but like, how do you feel like that Venus being in the 12th house? I'm curious as to how that's manifested for you in your life because there's such a feeling that I've read in charts before that says Venus, just the lens of Venus in the 12th house could be like the love that I need and receive is so like it's otherworldly. It really spans between lifetimes and it's really, meeting your soul partner in this lifetime. Like, how has that really come together for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
That's a really good question. So my main Venus journey has been about rediscovering my love for myself, falling back in love with myself.
Yes.
As I heard you say something once that I'm very fond of. But story. Basically, I was raised to believe that the only thing that my only value I brought was in my appearance, and that nothing else mattered really. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so Venus in Leo is very someone once the one I got a chart reading once, and it was like this placement just wants to be adored and worshipped. And so I was very down on my placement for a while for that. But in learning to really fall in love with the deep dive into my own inner being, that gives me an ability to look around and be like, I am where I'm supposed to be. I, I'm okay. I don't,
Yes.
I also in my 12th house have my moon and Mercury conjunct in Virgo. And that
Yes.
is a very, very strong force in that first house. It's my or 12th house. It's my inner monologue. And
Yes.
so it
Yes.
drives everything else.
Yes.
And so it really was this process of learning how to come home to myself, learning how to see that the things that I wanted to put out in the world, that made my heart happy to put out into the world, that they didn't have
Mm.
to be perfect. They didn't have to be just right. They didn't have to make everyone else around me happy. They needed to make my heart sing.
Yes. Oh, that is so beautiful. And I'm really hearing is that you're learning how to adore the Venus and you're learning how to give her like that component within you all that she desires. Because that's,
Mhm.
I mean, like these are no joke placements in your chart. And to say we all deserve a little bit of a like a diva adoration. Like we all deserve to have that experience. And especially when we're doing big things in this world, it's okay to say, I fill my cup up enough that like these are the expectations that I can have for myself. And I love that Venus is just listening to your inner monologue at the same time. Like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. There's so much beauty in that Virgo. That's so lovely. And really opening to that Mars Jupiter conjunction. Because although it is like it's still a conjunction, that's still a super planet in the 10th house. How do you feel? Are you able to kind of view them separately, or do you usually view them in the chart as a super planet? Because, like, for example, for myself, I have my sun conjunct Jupiter, so I forget that I have a natal Jupiter because it's like all bundled up in there. But, like, do they communicate? Do they kind of push and pull? Like, how does that manifest for you?
They do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I have learned to I used to look at that placement and just be like, I'm ridiculously passive aggressive, and that's all that is.
I love that so much. That's
Like I'm
beautiful.
just I'm just
Like, that's,
passive aggressive AF. That's what it is, and that's just how it is.
it's
Um,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
it's a lot more powerful than that.
Yeah, it really is.
So
But
it's
that's definitely something that like that I like with all of my Mars work that can really happen as we say like that's my planet, that's the way that it's going to be. That's like I'm fated to have this chart and it really can be like it's why, you know, as readers, we have to have that integrity within our practice because you could say something to one person and that could be the reading that they get for the rest of their lives. And that
Mhm.
that person, that reader is like, oh, you need this to be adored. It's like, I will remember this forever. I'm talking about it now on a conversation. So it's really having that integrity within that. But it's kind of the analogy that I give for those types of things, which is like a kiddo learning how to tie their shoes. And it's like I could literally just be like, I'm going Velcro. I'm not learning how to adjust. I'm not learning how to do this. And it's very much like I could marry you on that with my Mars and Taurus, where I'm like, this is how things are gonna be. Like this is it. This is I'm fine with a 6 out of 10 life. I'm fine with, you know, inappropriate in the seventh
Fine, it's
house.
all
Like
fine.
totally okay. This is how we're raised, so this is how we're gonna do it. And it's such a fascinating thing because when we're given those seeds of men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Mhm.
So as feminines, And please, like, I would love your thoughts on this. We just kind of say, this is how it is. This is what to expect. This is what you can, it's kind of like you've met an archetype of a person, so this is how you're going to be treated. Or that inner dialogue says, I'm just going to be passive aggressive forever. It is what it is. Did I'd love to ask, because I know that you speak more on Venus and that's your mastery. Talk us through the awakening. And you had mentioned that it was with the Venus retrograde. How did that interact with Mars as well? Like, was there a conversation, or was it Venus said, I have to go through this experience first, and then Mars can come from that? Like, how did that? Because I feel like we're both like opposite sides of the same coin for how
Yeah.
that manifested and how that
For
happened.
me, it definitely was Venus first. But I do want to say real quick, one thing that what I have learned about my Mars placement is that Jupiter is like the fuel that powers this Mars engine. And so learning that these big emotions, these deep emotions that I'm having, that they are not a liability, that they are actually, that is what is making things happen and making things go. And so learning to lean into those and to not be scared of them has been my huge Mars kind of journey a little
Oh,
bit.
I love that. I
Um,
love that. That's
yeah.
and it's really allowing those emotions to come up and to be seen, experienced, and felt, but to not always make actions based on the emotions, to sit with the entirety of it and be with them. Because especially for all Cancer placements, your emotions are your superpower. For Pisces placements as well, for all of our water signs, those are your superpowers. And to be able to say, I'm experiencing all this and I need to swim in the depths of that and then come back and say, oh, no, no, no. And that's where like your Virgo placements comes in and like, no, this is how we're going to do it. This is
Now
how
we're
it's
going
going
to
to be.
sort all of this into our post-it notes.
Oh, I love a good post-it note. Oh my goodness. It's so, so true. It's so, so true. And I love that it came from Venus. I really love that. And Mars was able to follow. And I know like for myself, it was Mars that had to lead the charge. And it's, Scorpio rising, Aries sun. So Mars is like, hi,
We're
tend to
doing it.
me, or I'm going to tend to the whole life. And it really manifested as, that parable that I always say is, when you realize you're on the wrong train, get off the wrong train because it's going to cost you more money the longer you're on the wrong train. And that's what had happened in my life. And it birthed my whole Mastering Mars program. But I was living a life that I knew was not the full life of my dreams. And I saw it in my day to day. My energy would be depleted. But I found it to be so funny that the week that Mars went retrograde was the week that I had decided to shift everything. And the day that Mars went retrograde was the day I put my notice in my last waitering job. And I
Mm.
just was like, and it shifted. I needed to go back to the station. I needed to go back to center to say, okay, where are we actually going? Because that was not the path to get there. And and it's fascinating because I feel like sometimes in the past I've really discredited my Venus because it's so I would love your perspective on a Venus in Aquarius just in general because I feel as though Venus in Aquarius and Venus in Gemini, I love seeing them in charts because like I mean like I as a channeler, I'm like, oh, you're a little alien, you're a little star seed over there. Like I absolutely love it. And what I find that I'm attracted to is more, leadership and more spearheading for something and standing for something and having it be whatever it is that you do in your world, you really are within your own integrity with your speech, with what it is that you're creating for the new world. So I would love to hear some of your perspectives on the Venus and air signs, I think in general, because but Venus and Aquarius first, because I'm still learning about that placement. And again, it's
I
squaring my
love Venus and
Mars.
Aquarius so much. I think Venus and Aquarius, you know those pictures from like the 90s? Love the 90s. Where it's a mosaic of a whole bunch of little pictures. And then as you come back, it's like one
Yes.
big picture.
Yes.
Only a Venus in Aquarius could have come up with that. There's no
Preach.
way that the person that came up
Preach.
with that was not Venus, did not have their Venus placement in Aquarius, because that is this ability to see that individual beauty and role in every little thing, and being able to find just the value and the depth and the beauty and the incredibleness of just the most obscure things, and finding a way to weave them all together and to bring them together into this picture that nobody could have imagined and nobody could have ever seen. But it is breathtaking from every angle. And everywhere you look at it, there's something else that's magical. And that is Venus in Aquarius to me.
Oh, thank you for
And
saying
being able
that.
to do that and have that gift is like you're in the perfect place, you know? It makes so much sense. So
Thank
I just,
you.
and with it being, it's in your fourth house too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's, and then you have Mercury there too. So you're bringing this all together and making this home, this multidimensional cafe where everyone that comes in feels so seen. And you're able to just then communicate to them. You can communicate to everyone in the way that they need to be communicated to. And I think it is a beautiful placement.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. I'm getting full chills as you're
Oh,
talking. And that's like, it's so beautiful that you say that. That was a compliment that I had only received once before in my life about you can communicate with every person the way that and I speak to, I've told my story at the cafe about being a waiter and how I resented it for so long and being in service. But the theme of my entire business is a multidimensional cafe. So it really speaks to what we think in the past is so negative can be the tools that get us into the timeline and into the paradigm that we're supposed to be in. This was many, many lifetimes ago where I was a bartender and I had a full bar and I was the only bartender there and every single person was, just all tended to. And my manager came over and she was just kind of standing there and she goes, and we didn't, her and I did not always get along. So it was very, very like off the cuff that she had even said this. And I haven't thought about this in so long, Susanna, where she goes, you could have a business owner come in, you could have a homeless person come in, you could have couples that just got engaged come in, and you will know exactly how to speak to every single person that sits at your bar. She's like, I've never really seen that before. And the fact that you're really like pairing that to my astrology is just so beautiful because it really does. I really love how every individual chart is different, every individual client is different, but every person that comments, every person that is in the membership group, every person that's there, getting to know someone and how to communicate with them and how to love them and create an environment for them to be seen and heard is just it's so important. It's so powerful. And thank you for like telling me this because there's moments where I'll be just walking around the city or just walking around in general and I'll start to well up because I'm like every person is so beautiful and needed and they just paint this whole picture of life and it could be someone screaming at each other like even in traffic I do this. I'm like you're just playing your role so beautifully and it's so lovely and so wonderful and it's just so so special and it's so so special and it's I feel like this is just coming to me now. I want to share it that with your Venus being in your 12th house, it's how you're able to reach people even in moments that's not live, like with your clients and with your customers and with everyone that comes into your programs with everything. And it's something even before we started recording, I'd complimented you and just said, like, I love the way that you post. I love your stories. I love the way that it comes through because anytime I see on Instagram, like I was like, oh, like it's very rare that I'm so like, oh, what's she up to now? Like she's on the land, she's doing something.
what's she
And
doing?
so,
You
and
never know.
it's so beautiful to see. And that's that Venus placement. That's like what draws me to that. And I really respect it. And I really love the way that you have welcomed people. And it's something that, that I work towards with the Multidimensional Cafe, whereas we're sitting together. And it doesn't matter where or when you are or what time zone you're in or whatever, we just come together and we just have a little bit of coffee or tea or just water or juice or something and have a chat and just oh my goodness, it's just I'm so so grateful. I'm just so so grateful.
And one thing that I was thinking about your Mars in Taurus, it makes so much sense that you are more driven by your Mars because you know in your body immediately when it is time to take action. Mars and Taurus, that is such like a deep embodied placement. And in your seventh house, right?
Seventh house, yes, yes.
Yeah. So you're going to know immediately, like in a conversation with someone, if you feel it in your body, you're like, oh, it is time to take action. That because
Yes.
Taurus wants to be safe and secure. And there's an astrologer that I absolutely adore, and she describes Taurus as the bull rolling around in its own crap in the field, just as embodied and happy as it can be.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I love that imagery.
Yes, that is perfect. That is so, so
Um,
perfect.
yeah,
We're very sensational. We're very
yes.
just like it needs to, and it's kind of like that sound bite where it's like immediately no, immediate like we know instantly with that placement, and it's very much like if I'm going into a store and it's not the day and my body is like nope, do not go in. I don't even question it
Mhm.
anymore. Like very and very much like when I was not aware of these placements, I just was like, oh no, you're supposed to go in here, and I didn't trust my own divine inter or my divine intuition, and it's very, but you're very right. It's super embodied, and we really like I feel like I put a lot of effort into my relationships, into my community, into the people that I surround myself with, and I think that that's something that I've really learned. I mean, this could even be just Mars in the seventh house alone, regardless of the placement of it, that being aware of the people that you keep in your inner circle and the people that you keep around you, because it's like that energy can be so beautiful, but I've learned in past experiences in my life that it's not always reciprocal. It's wonderful when someone's like, oh, clean up and kick off your shoes and do all the things and do this. But now to say like, no, no, this is my house. Like this is my house. This is my energy. And you're welcome in places when we match the respect or the energy equally. And we pour into each other equally. And so that's something that I've really learned a lot of. And I mean, especially with the Mars retrograde. The Mars retrograde was completely encompassed in my ninth house. So it was so yeah, Mars going back into Cancer as well. It was all in the ninth house. So in past seasons of life, I would literally just get up and go. I'd go to a different country, I'd go to a different area, I would move and it would be like held together with like duct tape and popsicle sticks. And this Mars retrograde had said, this is your time to set that solid foundation to welcome in your
Mhm.
sustainable freedom, to welcome in the relationships that are meant for you, to welcome in the home that is meant for you. Because it's Venus is just so, and it's something that I, talk
That's
about
your
a lot.
square.
Oh my goodness, they're so squared.
That's your square.
They're so squared. They're so, and they want to meet at the same table. And it's really, oh, I'm gonna do some journaling after this because I really want to like have my Venus and Mars have a conversation together and just and really and see like what were the two things that you'd said, like what does Venus want? And Mars is like, how do we make it solid? Because I want to circle back to that.
Yeah, well, Venus will say, this matters to me, because that's what Venus is telling you. Venus is what you value, it is how you determine what is
Yes.
important to you.
Yes.
Um, and then Mars kind of answers that with, let's make this real.
Yes.
And so I think when we honor both of those voices, we become almost unstoppable.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just,
Yes.
yeah.
I really I love looking at these personal planets, and as you're talking, I was thinking back to the Venus retrograde that we had had. This was a few years
Mm.
ago, and I just realized that this would be a Venus opposition three times over my natal Venus because it was in Leo. So that whoa, it's like when you just get a flash of like that's why, that's why, that's why, that's why, that's why, that's why, that's why,
Full body
and it
chills.
was
Full
oh
body
my
chills.
God, it was just so powerful to say it was a lot of completed cycles in the realm of relationships for me, and to say like I am not going to ever apologize for what it is that I do, how I channel, all of these different things, like loving that side of myself so much to say it's not fully the if I'm too much, go find less, but it's this is me and all of those specificities. And what it is that I'm looking for is looking for me. It's kind of that phrase of like what you want wants you.
Mhm.
And to give yourself that time to really be with that. But that just I totally forgot about that because yeah, it was in Leo and it was a three-time opposition to my natal. Oh, I just felt
I love Venus retrograde. I love it because there's the Sumerian legend, the descent of Inanna, that kind of follows the Venus retrograde, and it talks about going down into the underworld. And Venus is gone from the sky for 40 days and 40 nights, and then comes back as the evenings or as the morning star. She's morning star right now.
yes.
And it is about that deep, deep dive. And I
Mm,
really think until we know, like we really know that we are deeply and inherently worthy of our desires, we will never feel safe enough to take action because Venus shows us that worthiness isn't earned, that it's remembered. And like when
yes.
we fall in love with ourselves exactly as we are,
Mm,
especially the past versions that we've outgrown, because I think that is one of the most potent parts of a Venus retrograde is it is a chance to say goodbye to these past versions that we've outgrown. But that is when we
yes.
build this foundation that is so steady that every step we take and everything we do, every action becomes this like it's like living devotion.
100%. Oh, I love that so much. It's so, so true. It's just so beautiful to say. And that time period when Venus goes inward is just like, you are so lovable and you are so worthy. And it's so true. We'll never externally, like from the lens of Mars to speak on that, is we'll never externally manifest something or call something in if we don't believe that we're worthy of it, if we don't believe that it's possible. We can write, I have hundreds of millions of dollars. We can write it down as many times as we want. We can put it on post-its. But if our nervous system doesn't feel safe to receive that, and if our mind just goes like, oh yeah, whatever, like it's never going to actually come to us. So to really take that season of going inward and saying like, oh my goodness, like I'm so lovable right now. I'm so worthy right now. And to not judge our past selves through the healed eyes of where we are now, because we wouldn't be so healed and embodied if we didn't have those moments of, oh, I messed up, or oh, I did this, or all of these different things. And it's just so potent. And I wanted to really incorporate because we had that Venus retrograde this year. So we had that Venus going retrograde in March. And something that, I had spoken about, I loved how Venus kind of went first into energy, where she first went into Aries, she first went into like she just kind of swan dove into these points in our chart that are on the general wheel as well, where Saturn and Neptune are now sitting, where Mercury then went retrograde.
North
Mercury
Node,
was,
Saturn,
oh
Neptune,
my gosh.
all of it. I did a whole
It's
course.
the whole is just so beautiful and it's like we had to lead with love, we had to lead with that embodiment. And it's from my perspective, and I'd love to hear how you really interpreted this. It was like if you stand in your power, divine feminine, divine masculine power, that doesn't take from anyone else. That's saying I'm in my embodiment. And leaders, when you're in your power, you make others feel safe, you allow people to be their true selves around you. And so I loved that Venus was like, I'm going this way. And I'm going to touch on all of these different areas. I'm going to get the lay of the land and really see what's going on. So I love your interpretation on because I feel like for so many people, and I've heard this from friends and members and subscribers, that the first half of 2025 was like, what was that? Like I'm now anew and we're now in June recording this, but it's like I had to go into the depths of myself to find my worthiness. I've got it now and I don't identify with those traumas, but a lot of even like the months, like May, what was that? Like when did that happen? Like I just
I think I wrote May a few times.
right. Right. It's so true. I was just like, what's going on?
Where
It's
was
mid
May?
to like where are we now? But how was that Venus retrograde, the last Venus retrograde that we had? How did that really manifest for yourself and your business and your practice? What really came from that?
Oh, big things. So this Venus retrograde was in Pisces and Aries, which I love. It's like it was the very end of everything. And then as all of these planets are moving, going into Aries, like Saturn and Neptune, and we are rebuilding everything. We are like completely redoing the foundations of everything we believe. And then, so I fully rebranded.
Yes. That's
Um,
perfect. That's the
yeah, I
perfect
fully
manifestation.
rebranded.
Yes, that's
And
perfect. That's perfect.
that's what I
Yes.
did. But I
Yes.
did a course, I put together a course called Sacred Self that really looked at Venus retrograde, where it was in your chart. It was a lot of journal prompts and things like that. It was fun.
Yes.
But when you take your own course,
Yes.
there are results. That's what this is.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't be more grateful to hear that you take your own courses because there are times where I'll listen to my own guided meditations or I'll just listen to all like my all signs reading and I'm like, this is how you change your life. Okay. This is
I'm
this is
personally
it.
attacking myself.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like it's in
Oh,
my
I've
own
texted
voice.
you after your all signs readings and been like, ma'am, I feel personally attacked. Monica Closet.
It was so good. It was so good. And I love how Virgo in my all sides readings has been opening up a little bit more to me. Whereas, like, there are certain signs, like Capricorn, when I show up, I get the energy of, like, all right, tell me what to do. I'm going to go do it and I'll be back in 2 weeks. And it's like, it's very, like, cut dry. Scorpio is, like, bringing all their stuff to the cafe and they're like, okay, let's do this. Let's talk. But with Virgo, especially with the South Node being in Virgo, it's been very much like showing little bits of myself and showing little bits. And it was this beautiful moment of like, and if anyone is not a 90s kiddo, the Monica closet is like, I have all of my different categories. Everything goes here, but this doesn't have a category. I don't know where to put it. And so it was like this beautiful reading where there's like a closet or a drawer or something where it's like, these don't have categories, but it has a place and it's there and it's put
It's
away and I don't have
contained.
to yeah, it's
I don't
contained.
know what
There's a
it
lid
is.
on it, there's a door, and I don't know what to do with any of you, but it's but it's there. And it was just I loved your message. You're like, ma'am, excuse me. I was driving and you just called me out. But it's I love this. I love it so much. And it's this Venus retrograde for me was like I'm an Aries sun, 2 degrees Aries conjunct Jupiter, 5 degrees. And so this has
You're
been
in it.
like I right now, like as we're talking, I have Pluto sextiling my sun. I have Neptune and Saturn sitting on my sun, and I have Jupiter squaring my sun. I'm going to have Uranus sextiling my sun, and then after this Mars transit, when Mars goes into Libra, Mars will be opposing my sun. So it's very, this is I'm like, this is fine. This is
Let's
normal.
do
This
this.
this is so and Venus really laid that foundation where anything that doesn't feel like me anymore, I really was given the opportunity during the retrograde to ask myself and to be present, why are you holding on to this? If it doesn't feel like you, what is the story? What is the root? When were you taught that this is like you said? And it's something that I'd spoken to Sarah, when I was growing up, it was Sarah's pretty or Sarah's this, and you don't need to be smart, you don't need to have talent, you just need to be this. And so there was a lot of that story. There was also a story of, females running their own business, of, you can't be feminine and embody that and have like it was all of these stories that were coming up to be looked at. And it was very much with the Mars retrograde slowing everything down to say you have to be in this environment where you maybe feel like you're in the dark, but you are the light, the candle inside. And then Venus came in to say, you are lovable. Like you said, it was spot on. You are lovable, but you also can change the story. You can also rewire your brain. You can also calm your nervous system to receive wearing your sundress, to receive and to be the channeler and to be open to more divine channels and to be open to bigger, more powerful channels. And I think that that's something that I've been integrating and embodying for like I'll just put a bookend of the first half of 2025 to be able to say, wow, this is integrated now. And wow, this is really a part of my life. But it's I love what you had said, and it's so true that to welcome these retrogrades and to welcome them to say if something is not fully in alignment within myself, why am I holding on to it? And we're given these opportunities for retrogrades to say, let's sit with this, let's be with this. It doesn't have to be that, oh, there's no external movement, there's no big things happening in the external, but to really say, why are you trying to make moves when you don't think that you're worthy of it? Who are you trying to prove this to if it's not your inner self? And so I loved how Mars and Venus just kind of were like, sit down. And Venus is like, love yourself. I was like, okay, I'll find that. I'll find that within me. It was so, it was just such a beautiful time. And but I have to honor from both of our perspectives and to everyone watching, it does not mean that it is not painful and very uncomfortable and very like
It
when your
sucks.
ego gets stripped away, where it's like, you gotta look at this, you gotta look at this.
It's not
And
fun.
it's not fun. And it's not fun, and it's not fun to see, like when you can only do so much when you're in those moments. I've, pulled back sometimes when I've been in those seasons, and I've seen a lot of content creators really do this as well, is that they'll stop holding space for people, or they'll take a season away, or they'll really integrate something during those time periods. And it's very important to really do that, to honor the integrity of what you're experiencing. And it can
Mhm.
be very confusing for a lot of people. It's like when your ego is getting punched in the face over and over, to be like, we need your ego. We're in a body. We need discernment. But that older version of yourself, younger, past, like outdated, for lack of a better term, needs to be given a ceremony. It's not like you're dead and now I don't need you. It's to give that version of yourself that hug and the gratitude, because the gumption of our younger selves, they were so courageous. We wouldn't be able to be so embodied in our strength and softness fully if it wasn't for them. And it's just, oh, the embodied and integrated Mars and Venus within you, you can tell. It's so beautiful when you see someone that's walking within their alignment. Like you can point them out on the street like it's nobody's business. You can tell. And it's really, and for the 2025 lens, it's like when someone's walking down the street and I was like, you've got the fame seed. There's something in there that's like you can be seen and you don't care who sees you. Like it's very, very powerful.
It
And
is.
that's how would you, let's talk a little bit about the balanced and the aligned Mars and Venus within ourselves. And then really we can go into the like one of the last questions that I really wanted us to touch upon is, how do Mars and Venus teach us about giving and receiving, not just in love, but in creative leadership and within embodiment? Because it doesn't have to be, when it's inside of us, just about manifesting a partner or calling that
Yeah.
in. It can be fully about that embodiment and that alignment. So how do you, because I have a lot of subscribers that maybe have gone through past relationships and now they're in a season of self-love and embodiment, not to say I'm pushing away love, but to say I want to fully embody my full capabilities now, so that I have something to offer this person, so that I have, whether it's, I have a lot of divine masculines that are like, I'm not dating because I want to, take care of her and I want to make sure that she's good, or divine feminines that could say, I've been too far in my masculine before. I have a lot of corporate survivors and people that have come out of that very highly masculine environment that are now saying, like, I have to rewire all of this to be able to receive. Because when you come from lifetimes or past lives or experiences in this lifetime of, I can do it all, I can have it all, I don't need a family, I don't need no man. I've been there. And so to come out of that is like, wow, I really desire that. But to be able to embody the femininity that it takes to be the polarity to the divine masculine, is kind of like, I've got my yin yang tended to, you've got your yin yang tended to, and then we meet. I threw just like seven questions at you, I think,
No,
but pick
I
your
love
favorite.
that. I think, because we can talk about self-love and being fully present and embodied in yourself, but if you don't know what it feels like for your soul to be inspired, if you don't know what it feels like to be driven to take action, if you're not familiar with your Mars placement, if you don't know how to work with it, if you're not, you're never going to know the if you're ready to do that, if you don't
Mhm.
know what that call feels like if you're not familiar with how that inspiration, your Mars placement, presents to yourself.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so I think being very much in line with both of them, and it's very much the chicken or the egg. What comes first, the
Yes.
inspiration or the safety that you know the inspiration is important, is real.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you've
Yes.
got to hold both pieces.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the Mars, I think it is really learning that language in your own body with your own guides, with your own just general universe. What does it feel like not to be driven by fear or by lack or by, what do people think of me? Am I doing enough? And those are questions that your Venus answers. Yes, you're doing enough. And I
Yes.
love you. You love you. And that's all that matters. Now let's get back to
Yes.
this inspiration. What is pulling at you? And I think that's a big part of kind of getting them in sync. It's not about just getting
Yes.
things done. It's about becoming the kind of person who lives their desire.
Yes, yes, 100%, 100%. And it's from the leadership lens, and it really says God, universe, spirit isn't checking your bank account. It's not checking when it gives you a dream, you're the vibrational match for that. So it's not out of this world to think, oh, I have this idea. I have this idea to do this. You're the match for that. You're the one that's supposed to bring it into fruition. So I love that. Is it the chicken or the egg? Because it says both have to come to the table to say, okay, this is the desire. Mars wants to make it stable, like you said, and Venus wants to embody the version of yourself that can contain it, that can hold that vibration, that is open to receive it. Because if we're not open to receive our blessings or our abundances or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter how much Mars does, Venus isn't going to let it happen. If success isn't safe, if being known isn't safe, your body is not ready for that. And Venus is saying, I'm going to hold you until we look at that, until we say, this is you and I love you. I've got you. Like there's so many times that I've, gone into like in past experiences of life, maybe I've gone into a meeting that I was terrified of and I'm shaking, or, when I put my notice in at my job, I'm like, what are you doing? And I just put my hands on my body and say, little Sarah, I've got you. Venus, I've got you. We're ready to receive, and we now know that we're worthy of it. And Mars is like, so Taurus, put it on paper, do this, give the like all the things. Like it was just very like cut, dry, done. This is the thing. This is the thing. And that's so beautiful. And it really, it's because I feel as though sometimes that I've seen a lot of these like manifestate, like these words can sometimes be misinterpreted. And I feel like self-love can sometimes be misinterpreted. But when you're sitting with yourself in that channeled state, in that meditative state, and you sit with your inner selves, you sit with your guide and your higher self and all of the versions of you. And it like you had said earlier, it can be the leadership, or not the leadership, it could be the astrological lens. We can look at it as the IFS lens. We could look at it psychological lens. But when we come to the table and we have our sun, moon, we have our Venus and Mars, and everyone is sitting there to say, okay, this is where we're going, everybody has to have a role. And everyone has to fully embody that in their healthiest, most aligned expression. And it's so beautiful because it's like the chicken and the egg kind of happen at the same time, whereas we have this destination that we're going, which is not a linear destination, or it's a physical embodiment of all of these internal expressions. And it's so beautiful. Like when they have that healthy relationship and you give them that space to talk and you're in that alignment, you can't you can't not achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. You can't, like, it's just actually impossible for that to happen from an energetic standpoint when you're in that aligned space. But they're so beautiful. And I think that I as well would really, when I first started reading astrology and I had looked at that Venus Mars square, it was very much like, this isn't going to go well. You'll be divorced. You'll have that. Like it was so cut and dry. But to let them say, this is where we're going, and Mars is like, let's build it. Let's make it happen. Let's find the people. Let's find the souls that are really meant to be there, and allow that to be a beautiful conversation. So I'm definitely going to do some journaling after this talk and yeah, giving and receiving, not just in love, but in creative leadership and embodiment. I feel, do you have any other notes on that or anything else that you want to touch upon? We talked about a lot today, and I'm so
We
happy for
have.
that. We're gonna have to have more conversations for
Yes, please.
sure.
I
Yes, and
think, yeah,
go
when we
ahead.
look at the relationship, it's how is your Mars trying to protect your Venus? And what does your Venus long for that your Mars might ignore? What are some common relationship dynamics, I guess, in the external world that maybe you can bring into the conversation between the two of them, you
Love
know?
that. I love that so much. And it's just, oh, I'm seeing like as you're talking, I'm seeing like past experiences and relationships where does Mars want to protect and Venus is so embodied. And it's really it's I mean it's vulnerable but open, but I talk about this on with my group where it's fully embodying my channeling and fully embodying, and I used to for a long season kind of make a joke of it, just be like, oh, your alien friend or oh this or and make it a little bit more of a but and now it's like this is actually what I do and this is actually and so that Mars and Taurus, it's like when I embody that fully, Mars and Taurus is like, be careful who you allow in the room. Like, this is really be specific with the people that you allow into your inner circle or the people that you collaborate with. And it was very much like when you and I first had a conversation about doing this, my whole body, Mars was like resounding yes, 100%. Like, it was just such a yes. And it had been this long time on the vision board of inviting people to the cafe, inviting people to talk and really and sharing that space. And so it came in just the most aligned way. So it like everything that you're speaking to and everything that you teach and really embody, I've seen it in my own life, I've received it, and I'm so grateful to share this space because it was like after doing that inner work with Venus to really fully say, this is this is within alignment for both my Venus and Mars. So I'm so so grateful. And do you have any other notes that you want to share with the group before we close this chat?
Um, I don't think so. I think the only other thing that maybe pops into my head is one of the things that there are different, all of the different axes through the zodiac have very, very definite missions and purposes. And I think sometimes looking at where your Mars and Venus fall on which half of which axis, sometimes those
Mhm.
conversations, like the Aries and Libra axis is the self and the other. And then, Virgo Pisces is the mind body axis. So looking at those locations, those placements,
Mhm.
and bringing that in to the conversation, I think could also be really helpful. I think was the only
Wonderful.
other thing that just popped in my head.
I know, and I think that that's really important for a lot of people because whether you're baby new to astrology, whether you've been reading charts, but or whether you're really integrating this into your life in a more embodied way, it does make so much sense. Where it's
Mm.
like from I statements like my Venus being in the fourth house and then the Mars in the seventh, home and relationships. That has been in the past seasons of contention. I mean, a lot of people know, like I've been borderline homeless before and had beautiful homes and then taken and all these different, maybe more unconventional living environments, I guess, to put the lens of unconventionality of Venus over that. And then with Mars, healthy, unhealthy relationships, seasons of, celibacy and all these different things. So I agree with that 100%. And I think looking at where they fall in your chart, the axis that they fall in, what houses, like what and really focusing on what I would love for people to take from this is really focusing on them alone. If they are conjunct a planet like with yours with the Jupiter, then definitely really look at that planet as well. But I'd love for people to really break down the lenses of kind of making it very,
Individual.
very, yes, exactly, exactly. And taking all the other planets away and just looking at Mars and Venus and really how are they communicating? Journal a little bit. Like if you want to join me, that's what I'll be doing and really ask yourself like how have they communicated, what does Venus want to embody that Mars wants to protect and help and make real in this world. So I love that. So how can people find you, best support you? I'm going to put all of the links in the description to find your pages and things like that. But what is going on new for you that people can really support? What can we offer?
So I am on Instagram. I'm the Modern Priestess Collective. Um, that is fairly new, which I'm very excited about. And I'm also, I'll give you the link. I'll make sure the link to my website is themodernpriestesscollective.com.
Wonderful.
And then I also have a zodiac course actually that is coming out very soon. It's called the
Yes.
Embodied Zodiac, and it looks at the signs and the planets and the nodal pathways, the axes, and looks at it all as a cycle. It is not these distinct archetypes doing these different things and they never interact. Everything is a cycle. We start in Aries and we go through this process and it follows the progression of fire, earth, air, water. It follows all of that and just really helps you have this language to work with your chart. It is not an
Yes.
in-depth zodiac course. It is very affordable, and I'm giving a very good discount to members of my email list. So I'll make sure you have a link for that too. Um,
Yes, yes.
but yeah, that is available, and I do readings. I do Reiki sessions, and all the things.
Wonderful. And I'm Ben, for everyone watching, I am on her email list. I love the emails. Like
Yeah,
definitely
I
it's
do. Sign up for my email list. I send out emails every new and full moon and every time Venus changes signs with journal prompts and a little ritual. And those are really fun to do. I enjoy
they're so
those.
beautiful. Oh, Susanna, this has been such a joy. Thank
A
you so
dream.
much for
Let's
just
do
like,
it again.
oh my goodness, I would love to. Please, everyone, comment your questions below, comment your Venus Mars placements and how you're receiving that, and definitely go support Susanna. And we will talk again soon. I'm so, so grateful.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
So good. It's to have such a dream even before I had met you to be realized here and now. It's just really for everyone watching, like trust divine timing. Trust that like really things will happen in exactly the moment that they're meant to happen and really you'll meet the right people. It's sometimes you have to be in those like hello Virgo, those hermit spaces and like Mars is in Virgo right now as we're talking. So we have to be in those moments to really find that love, to really find that understanding. But I promise you, just from personal experience, you will meet the right people the second that you're supposed to meet them. So,
Have a
mwah,
beautiful day.
you as well, you as well.